Now at 6, we've been showing you these little faces frozen in time for nearly 2 years now. They all have one thing in common. They died while their cases were being investigated by Franklin County Children's Services. And
tonight, we're finally getting answers in the death of one of these children. The mom of Ja'Kai Smith and her boyfriend are accused of torturing him physically and psychologically for weeks, while Franklin County Children's Services was investigating the family. Court records show that little boy suffered severe abuse in the weeks after a caseworker was in the family's home.
Now, the initial state review of this case prompted us to start asking some new questions. Mike McCarthy breaking down exactly what he's uncovered. Mike.
Roddy, that review from the state is called a child fatality summary. It comes from the State Department of Children and Youth. It is an internal report. The state told me it's meant to identify trends and determine if a local agency, in this case Franklin County Children's Services, met required standards. This is a look at what I received when I requested that report about Ja'Kai Smith. While much of it is redacted, this report does outline areas where a closer look may be needed. The great aunt of Ja'Kai Smith believes this system failed him. Franklin County Children's Services says the state review does not give a complete picture.
In the everyday ordinary, pain can sneak into play.
It's not easy.
At any moment for Nakia Carter.
You know, you can see kids around Ja'Kai's age and it comes back to your memory.
Her great-nephew, 4-year-old Ja'Kai Smith, died after court records show he suffered for weeks in his family's Reynoldsburg apartment. His mom, 20-year-old Kylie Smith Parks, and her boyfriend, 20-year-old Linwood Allison Jr., are accused of beating him, waterboarding him, starving him, and more. According to court records, a bedroom camera recorded the torture starting March 21st, the week after a call to Reynoldsburg police for a well-being check.
The little boy is 4 years old. The mom has not been feeding him.
We were not aware of any physical abuse. The only abuse that we were aware of was the neglect.
The call to police happened March 13th. 4 days later, Franklin County Children's Services says it received a similar call.
I would like for them to admit their what they missed in the investigation with Ja'Kai. I would like for them to be held accountable.
She wants Franklin County Children's Services to admit that there were mistakes made in this case. Can you do that? Were there mistakes made?
Again, I go back to, I think when we step back and look at this case in particular, when you look at all of the cases, how do we improve upon the information that we have?
Children's Services spokesman Scott Varner says the agency acted on the information it received, and a caseworker visited the family's home within 48 hours of the call to its hotline.
In this situation, our caseworker was called to that home based upon concerns of neglect, that this child was not being fed, that this child was being locked in his room. And our caseworker gets there, and here is the child at the table eating outside of his room.
A state report of the agency's actions is largely redacted, but the Department of Children and Youth outlined 6 items for further review, including how the county interacted with the boy's family. It notes no follow-up contact was documented after the initial home visit up to the time of the fatality. Writing, although the investigation was still active, more timely follow-up would have been beneficial.
Is there a timeline for Children's Services that we have visit number 1? When is there supposed to be visit number 2? Is there a designated timeline?
There are maximum timelines. So within that first 30 days, we will make sure that that we're having continual contact. But again, it goes back to
continual contact with a phone call or a visit.
It could be any of those.
A caseworker visited the family's home March 19th. Ja'Kai Smith died April 10th, 22 days later.
That level of abuse ramped up very quickly.
So does the agency agree with the finding then that a more timely follow-up would have been beneficial? Should they have done a more timely follow-up?
I would say that we were in the process of doing those things.
You have 22 days.
what this point reports out, and numerous times also, is that this was an ongoing situation.
The state review also says the caseworker noted a doorbell on the child's door during the home visit, but there was no documentation it was discussed with his mom. Also, it does not appear contact was attempted with the mother's boyfriend, nor were any background checks completed on him, and an interview of the child was very minimal.
Our caseworkers do an incredible job of talking with young people as best as they can.
But this report indicates that there could have been more done in this conversation.
I will say that I think in part of this report in particular, I will say that I think our caseworkers did an incredible job of talking to a young person who, again, we're a stranger in the home, and they were able to get a lot of information from Jakai.
Information from Reynoldsburg Police has been more limited. The chief said in an email, "This is an ongoing case, and the department won't be commenting." Police records show officers did go to the family's apartment for that initial well-being check, but there was no answer. Our request for any follow-up reports related to that initial call led to this emailed response: "There are none." Police records show the next documented trip officers made to the home happened the day Jakai Smith died. The state report says Children's Services didn't document checking for police involvement, and no medical records were requested, even with the concerns about the child's physical health.
Did the system fail this family based upon what the state has found with this?
Yeah, I think, and that's where I go back to, I think the challenge of that report. That report is done at a point in time where so much information is still being gathered, interviews that still need to be made, looking at not just our agency but across systems, that I don't know that that report in and of itself gives the information in a way in which those kinds of thoughts, those kinds of conclusions can be made.
If it doesn't show that the system didn't work,
yeah,
what does it show?
I think what each of these reports do is a good reminder and an opportunity for us to always ask questions.
Jakai Smith was among 5 Franklin County children who died over 15 months. All their families were involved with Franklin County Children's Services. Varner says the agency has begun looking at ways to obtain more information and better collaborate with police, the courts, schools, and medical providers. That includes new daily alerts caseworkers now receive, notifying them if Columbus police respond to a family's home for any reason. Efforts Jakai Smith's great aunt supports.
Because I'm not here to bash the police department or Children's Services. I only want them to improve on what it is that they do for the community.
And when those reminders of her nephew do step in, she says she focuses on her faith and his smile to get through those any day, ordinary moments.
You just can't forget it.
We asked the state directly, did Franklin County Children's Services violate any required standards in Jakai Smith's case? The state told us this: in this specific case, all required standards were met. The mother of Jakai Smith and her boyfriend are now charged with murder and more. Their next court hearing is later this month. On your side, I'm Mike McCarthy reporting.
Thank you for watching the ABC6 News YouTube channel, bringing you breaking news, weather, sports, and original content from throughout Central Ohio. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out. ABC6 News and First Warning Weather are on your side.